This is Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall. CJAD 800.
That is James MENNIE. He is over at the Montreal Gazette. Jim, I'm not sure where to start. We had David Lametti on. Where do you want to begin today?
Well, I have to tell you, when I heard Mr. Lametti yesterday, one of perhaps my favorite lines from my favorite movie of all time.
Oh, I think we have it.
Went through my head.
Okay. Here you go.
How can he close me up? On what ground? I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
Yeah.
From Casablanca.
Claude Rains, Louis Renault, prefect of police for Casablanca, as I'm sure many of our listeners know, and perhaps the most pragmatic character in cinema history. And I couldn't help but hear Monsieur Renault's voice when Mr. Lametti yesterday was saying, well, we're going to be part of the, we'll take Bill 21 to the Supreme Court. And he was talking away there like, I'm a Quebecer, and it was about rights. And then he comes on the show today. And it was a far more circumspect David Lametti. Let me rephrase that. It's almost as if you said, I kind of hear there's gambling going on in here, and I'll take a look down the road, but let's take it one piece at a time. He focused. It was interesting because, first of all, the actual shot across the bows of the government is the stated intent to take Bill 21 to the Supreme Court. Bill 96, as you guys mentioned, it was rather frustrating. Well, we have to wait for something to happen. We have to have things enacted or actually executed before we can take some action, which of course is absolute rubbish, and Mr. Lametti knows it. The federal government can right now, and now that it's, I think it's officially Law 96, it's got to appear in the Gazette Officielle, but 2196 refer both to the Supreme Court. Don't have to go through the whole big, minuet, legal minuet of waiting for it to go to appeals court or waiting for a judgment. You can just take these two laws and say, does this stand the test? Are these laws legal? Even if they're including the use of the notwithstanding clause, which once again, it's interesting to hear a Canadian justice minister who says he was actually party to the original discussions where the notwithstanding clause was adopted, and it was supposed to be like the nuclear option, the last option you use. But in fact, if you read up on it, you'll discover the notwithstanding clause, which basically allows provincial government to say your rights are rights are rights, unless, of course, they are void, prohibited by laws that we pass. That was apparently the compromise that actually got the Constitution back here, that actually got the premiers on side to say, listen, we can't leave this wide open. Who knows who's going to ask for what? And so we basically put this poison pill in our own Constitution, and now we are feeling the effects all these years after. So, yeah, on the one hand, it's really swell that the feds seem to have been shaken awake to confront these illegal laws. But on the other, it's very interesting to see whether the pace of their involvement will quicken compared to what it's been thus far. Bill 21, newsflash, was passed nearly 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And now, all of a sudden, we're hearing, definite action. Well, I excuse me, Aaron, but I have to tell you, you had a great question for Mr. Lametti. Why now? Was it? I like to think it was because we were thundering here on Montreal Now about the political cowardice of the Trudeau government. Could it also have been an attempt to roll a little grenade onto the stage, metaphorically speaking, of course, a little grenade onto the stage in Laval last night to put the Conservatives on the spot to see where they were going to stand on it? If it wasn't a very good idea because, frankly, this is on Trudeau. This is on his government. This is, and the Trudeau name is linked inextricably with the Constitution, inextricably with the Charter, whether the latest holder of that name, Justin, likes it or not. So here we are. We're in a situation where a lot of people, and I think that's the big danger that a lot of non-Francophones in Quebec face right now. Please don't heave a big sigh of relief because the feds have said they're going to get involved and say this is over. This is far from over. And as we discovered today, the level of, how can I put it, enthusiasm exhibited by the federal government may change, may diminish in the weeks to come.
Well, listen to this clip. So this is David Lametti, right, the Justice Minister from earlier today, on what exactly, because my question, I think we both kind of wonder, you say you're going to do something. What is that something? Can you give us an idea? Here's the answer.
If the Bill 21 litigation gets to the Supreme Court, once it's been ruled on by the Quebec Court of Appeal, that we will be there. It will be de facto a national issue. And we will be there to make arguments generally, but in particular about the preemptive use of the notwithstanding clause.
Okay, so there's a big if in there. And then the question I have, Jim, is this. He talked about the Quebec Court of Appeal, where this is currently now. Why announce this now before a ruling from the Quebec Court of Appeal?
Well, this, once again, I don't want to appear too, egoist here, but I think that conversations like the ones we've been having on this show over the past few days are not limited to this show. I think there are a lot of people out there who, once it became real, once this proposed reform of Bill 101 actually went into effect with all of its illegalities, with all of its rights violations, I think even Ottawa realized that desk wasn't big enough to hide under forever, and that they would have to be dragged out kicking and screaming to deal with this, even though I get the impression that at the moment, our federal government is far more inclined to stick its nose into rights affairs on the far side of the world rather than what's going on in this country. The other thing, and it's an interesting development, is the Band Council in Kahnawake saying this is it. We're breaking off any kind of contact with the provincial government. This, I would respectfully submit, is going to be even more pressure on the Legault government than anything that comes out of Ottawa, because this is a government that has wrapped itself up in the idea of reconciliation, all the while denying that systemic racism towards Indigenous peoples exists in Quebec. That's another issue that is going to be not just discussed in Quebec, that because it involves First Nations, it will become a national issue as well. So on the one hand, yes, I'm happy that, if I can continue my metaphor, Louis Renault ran into the bar, blew his whistle, and told everyone to get out. I'll be fascinated to see, however, how long that is going to last in the weeks and months to come. A lot can happen. Maybe there's negotiations going on behind the scenes right now. But the status quo cannot endure here. The idea that a government can behave, and lest we forget Bill 96, right? It's Quebec Nation. It's not a part of. It's not subject to any of this nonsense. The laws that apply to Canada, common language is French. All of this is a direct legal assault on what holds the country together. So there's a little more involved here than whether or not you get spoken to in French or English at your local bakery. I'm not overstating this. The fundamental element of who we are, whether in Quebec, in Canada, in both, is at stake. So we'll see. But right now, I'm not bowled over by the federal government's reaction, but at least they're reacting. They're sort of wiping the sleep from their eyes, which I guess is a good start.
Okay.
There you go.
James MENNIE over at the Montreal Gazette. Jim, thank you.
Adam out.